Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Illinois. We're going to finally talk about your where your legislation is at, to the extent we can at this point. Transparency versus a dynamic disaster. RoboCop fired and dash jacked. That's right, dash jacked. Right on the other side.
Well, midnight headlight, blindly on a rainy night, Steve laid up ahead, slow me down and making no time. Gotta keep it rolling. Those are windshield wipers slapping out the tempo, breaking from the rhythm with the song on the radio. I gotta keep it rolling. I'm driving my life away.
To the Gig App Worker Thursday Live. I got me, I got my co-host Sean, Colorado CO Rideshare guy, CO Ride Guy. That's the first time I've messed that up in a while. CO Ride Guy is his handle. You can also look up Rideshare Zone audio podcast on YouTube and on Twitter. I know I don't think you're on anything else, but if you are, say it now or forever hold your peace.
I am, but I'm not active on any of the rest of them. So
yet. Okay. So yet it's not, yeah, those are where you'll find them.
And my Patreon.
Yeah. So you put that in the show. I'm sure that's in the show notes of some of your shows.
Sure.
Traveler says Steve is looking fuzzy. Am I?
Yeah, I was going to make the same comment, Traveler. Thank you. I thought I literally tried to clean my glasses when we were before we came in.
I mean, to me, this is what, guys, this is so frustrating. Sean knows too. This StreamYard thing is it's crazy because sometimes you guys are like, dude, the video's perfect, the audio's perfect, and I'm like seeing like skip animation movement. And it's hard to stick with it. And sometimes the audio is good. Sometimes the audio jumps a bit. And then sometimes I'm seeing it right now today, clear as day. Like I look clear as day. I don't know if I should try leaving, because here's the thing. My guess is it probably won't get better. When you're stuck in one of these loops, it just doesn't get better.
It looks more like pixelation, like it's trying to buffer, kind of fuzziness. So maybe dropping off and come back on real quick would help.
Yeah, let me do that. Sean will sing you a song real quick while I do this.
Somewhere over the rainbow. Welcome to the takeover with Sean and only Sean. And we're going to have a whole lot of fun. Let's look at what's going on in the chat while we're killing some time here. U-turn, welcome in. Thank you. Gig Great North. David Hunt, thank you for coming in. Awesome, Amy. Hold on, we're introducing everybody. And you are much better now, brother.
Is that
so
fixed?
I think
okay.
To
me, it looks the same. I don't know.
Yeah, we got Traveler, Matthew Kennedy. I'm going to finish this up while we're doing it. Bubba Sue, of course, as always. Tim Gigwise, welcome in all of you guys. And Shauna, got you now. And Rideshare Warrior Rick. I think we got all kinds of people in the house tonight, man. So we're going to have fun with this one. Kyle Noe, Toyo, Holy Spoke. They still keep coming in. Shane Play and Twin Pines. And I think we might finally be at the end of it. There we go. That's it, man. Back to you, brother.
Did you see Tim Gigwise? I'm sure you did. I came in during the mess of it all.
I said Tim.
Welcome LinkedIn, welcome Twitter, welcome YouTube, welcome both YouTube channels, and welcome audio podcasts. So right now, I'm not sure how many people we have watching on YouTube. I've set my settings a little bit different now, so I'm seeing the total number. But welcome everybody. So we had Brian Kern ask us about Pennsylvania legislation, and he's not in here yet.
Yeah.
So maybe we should. I had that down as first. Damn it, Brian.
Yeah, we can give it a few minutes if we want to jump ahead and then
Yeah,
jump back in.
Sue can Discord Brian and tell him to get his butt over here.
Brian in here.
God, did all this work for him. He doesn't even show up.
I know.
But we are going to go through these three. You know what? Let's start with the Wisconsin one then, because we're going to put things in between them. So if you guys are like, this is just going to be legislation. No. But we're going to get three in because I need to start finding a way to work these in, because I'm not going to have episodes that go an hour and a half on my podcast or on our Thursday night. That's just, here's just legislation for now.
Just that
Can't
piece
do it.
Right. No.
So I think this is the best way I've come up with, is we'll start off just kind of with some bullet points, what's going on. And then as we get closer to details or signed deals, we'll bring that up. He's watching the World Cup. Okay. Well, then Brian, on the replay, you'll have to learn about this. But let's start with Wisconsin anyway. I've had people ask me about this too. So the Wisconsin one is very weird. There was a legislation in 2025, a debate around Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Instacart. Should they be classified as independent contractors rather than employees? And this one was actually, where'd Sean go? This one was actually, damn it, StreamYard. Yeah, this one was actually there was a lot of people trying to push to reclassify. The Wisconsin legislature passed Assembly Bill 269. So that's AB 269 in 2025. The bill would have explicitly classified app-based rideshare and delivery drivers as independent contractors, exempting them from state law covering minimum wage, unemployment insurance, and worker compensation. The legislation also would have allowed companies to offer benefit programs without converting drivers into employees. Supporters argued it preserved worker flexibility and provided legal certainty for app-based work. We know that isn't the case. That's not how that works. But the opponents, including some labor organizations up there, oddly, argued that the bill would remove important worker protections and make it harder for drivers to qualify for benefits available to employees. Okay, so what happened? After passing both legislative chambers, AB 269 went to the Wisconsin governor, Tony Evers, and in August of last year, 2025, Evers vetoed the bill, stating that he opposed changing independent contractor definitions without guaranteed benefits for workers. Again, a scary road, because this is why I always say all of these look different. This isn't what you want either. Like, I'm glad he vetoed it, but his reason to veto, saying that until we have guaranteed benefits, that's the portable benefits on a national stage are already in place to be used by the states. And because of the veto, Wisconsin did not enact proposed statewide classification change. As a result, app-based workers remain subject to Wisconsin's existing legal tests for determining whether a worker is an employee or independent contractor, and it will be ratified in November of this year unless something changes. Meaning that you are now as of November. I don't know when they'll put it into effect. It's usually the next year, but it's usually January. I mean, they don't take their time. It's usually January 1st. I don't know. We'll see when this happens. But what you guys need is a big change, and you guys need to hit up your governor. You need to hit up you need to hit up House members. You need to hit up your local elected officials, because right now what they're giving you is the ABC test. And no, I know Rideshare Lisa was in the chat on Tuesday night on your live when Sean had me on his podcast, and she was saying, well, I might pass the ABC or maybe some catering with something, but we never got to the C prong. And the C prong is its own enemy too, because the C prong says that, and it depends on the state, it says that you normally do the business that you're doing for the business on your own. And so like in some states, let's keep it at the low medium is 70%. Some states say like 70% of your work has to, if you do rideshare, 70% of your work has to not come from Uber and Lyft.
Right.
And that's just the C prong. The A prong says they can't have any control over you, which they do. And the B prong says that they can't contract out to the services, the main services the company provides. So a rideshare company can't contract out to rideshare drivers. So the ABC test is just a mess that you can't pass any of the prongs.
Right.
And so Wisconsin actually was fighting for your portable benefits. And I don't know what's up with your lawmakers. Again, I don't go this hardcore on like, I always tell you guys, reach out to them. But in Wisconsin, you guys better look up your district, who your representative is. And I would think Wisconsin would be a great state to do it in. Because if you're outside Milwaukee, the populations for counties and stuff are not that big. So your vote and your voice carries a lot more than it would in some places. Like you calling or going down to your state house or whatever and try, even if you don't, like going to the office of your representative and trying to, make a meeting. Like that's honestly, like you need to do this. Email them, do whatever you want. If you need help, email me, email Sean. We can kind of try and help you with like what you should do. Get in the Discord group and put comments in there. There's one of the things in the Discord group is gig worker legislation, and it's the states we've submitted, as well as Colorado's is in there, the one that's been a law forever. But when they said that they were gonna, so after all this, after the veto, he's saying that he vetoed it because he wants guaranteed worker benefits. Well, guess what? He's actually in a position, and so are his lawmaker buddies, to make that happen. Because on the federal level, it already got passed. The mechanism is in place for him just to go, okay. And instead he's vetoing it, saying, well, until this is in place. It is in place. That's why I was saying, Wisconsin, you guys traded away everything for nothing. For nothing.
Right. But that's what they all keep doing.
Well, they're not all this bad. I mean, at least you have states.
Well, fair enough.
Every state, even as bad as they are, even if it's going to lose, it has people fighting on the other side. This one had some people opposing it, but they were like, well, we're not going to do any of that. And the opposition was like, okay. I mean, you and I both know, Sean, that usually, even if it can't be won, the opposition would say, okay, well then give us, and it might not even be gig relevant. Give us this.
Right.
Nobody ever just says, okay, let's just fold. Neither party does that.
Right. Well,
like, even if they're dealing
a lot
of work out, they want something.
You go dig into it, as you call it, Steve. The big suitcases of money are, being drug around over in there, and that's what's going on with it. I mean, it's all about lobbying. And, you and I wouldn't have much to talk about if they'd just get rid of lobbying. That's period.
So that's what Lisa had said. So Lisa said right up here, she said, I said Spark would only pass. She said, good memory. And then Bubba Sue says Spark wouldn't pass. I don't see, I'm trying to figure out how you'd even, I'm not saying, I mean, I'd love to hear it. Why do you think Spark would pass? Because I know Spark is somewhat of a separate entity of Walmart, but it's still owned by Walmart Corporation. Is it not?
But are they a subsidiary? And I think that's where the sniff test is different. And I think it's only I think Spark is a service provided by Walmart. So that's a really good point in question, Lisa, that they probably, if they're not a subsidiary, if they're just kind of a service of Walmart, then okay, well then
but see, here's my thing. It doesn't, and I was going to say this, it doesn't even matter if they do own them, because Spark is an app, and Spark is going to need to pass the ABC test. Do you have control over your drivers? Yes, we do. You just failed. Does Spark, is the business of Spark fit fixing rooftops and you just need to independent contractor, a guy to go get a Walmart package. No, it's Walmart delivery. So you can't do that. C, are you doing courier service 70% of all of your business in a year on your phone?
Because they have their own delivery. They have their little their little EVs that they're cruising around in. But it's not 70%. So you're right. It's not going to pass the sniff test from that standpoint. So
I don't think it would pass A or B either. They do have control.
Yeah, I don't think so either. If you really broke it down and looked at it, I don't think so either.
By the way, guys, that's what every state is going to do. When Sean says if, that's what they're going to do. If they go to the ABC test, they're going to go by this. And it's not you must pass one of the three. You got to pass them all. It's almost impossible. This is what happened to California with AB5. Forget Prop 22. This ended musicians. This ended lawyers temporarily and as anesthesiologists. And I mean, people couldn't pass it if they were self-employed, bottom line.
I think the thing is, in states like Colorado and transparency law, I mean, you go look, there's very specific language, even with the new rideshare safety bill. They always make that declaration that, it's been determined to be, an independent contractor. I mean, hell, even they know it's not. None of them can pass the test. So how do we fix that, Steve?
Well, I mean, here in Colorado, in 23 and 24 when it got ratified, 20 and 25 when it went into law. But 23, when we were starting the fight, I was working with all these people for the first time. I was talking about hybrid status. A lot of these lawmakers didn't even know that kind of thing at the time. But together we worked on, okay, that's why it was so important to get done, because these kind of like setting some standards. Because the PRO Act went after all of us with the last administration. They wanted AB5 nationwide. They were convinced everybody should be in a union. And if they had done that, we'd all be unemployed.
So here, I think I have an idea of how we can start setting a precedence, but it's going to have to start really small and it may never get enough traction. But if we found a state like South Dakota, where Sioux Falls, that's probably
we always pick on the Dakotas.
Right across
another one.
I know, but no, they might be able to help us, because if we can get them to set legal precedents that gig workers are, and here's the thing though, you and I want to be contractors. We just want them to be able to make fair pay, get rid of the algorithms, all the bullshit. So how do we create that middle ground? Because I think I could fix it as to fix the stuff that a lot of these uninformed drivers want to going, oh, I don't want to be, I want to join a union. I don't want to be an independent contractor, this and that, because they never really reap the rewards of being an independent contractor. You and I both do that currently and have done it in the past. So we know the value of being an independent contractor. And meanwhile, we're trying to figure out how to balance this out with, the DoorDash, the Uber, the Uber Eats, the Lyft, and all this other gig work crap. But there's some good gig work out there that we want to stay independent contractors with. So what's going to be the balance of that, Steve?
Here's my advice: not giving up and going, well, like maybe not even giving up, not getting involved on any level, not caring and thinking it's just going to keep coasting how it is. That's the worst thing you could do.
Yeah, being apathetic.
Unless you're just ready for it to end, unless you're like, I don't care about the gig economy, screw it. If it dies, it dies. I don't care. But even then, you should be looking out for your fellow man and helping it.
Then get the hell out of the gig economy if you don't want to improve it. Don't bitch about it if you're not going to be willing to improve it.
We're into something good, Sean. We're into the people who, and I've talked about this many times, but let's get into this a bit, because a lot of people, most people came here from a W-2, never had independent contractor, self-employment, freelancer. Maybe they did like a gig or two. I'm not dissing on anybody. I'm just telling you, most people came to here from a W-2 job, and they've never had anything but. So they came here and they were told about flexibility, and maybe when they first got on, they saw their honeymoon period, or they came on during the pandemic and they saw all this great pay, and then it's gone down. They're like, well, now I want somebody. Yeah, what? You're a union and you're going to fight for me? I'm for you. Wake up, people. This is not
bullshit. No.
This and in fact, they're taking triple advantage of the fact of this, because traditional independent contractors, self-employed business owners, investors, those types, you can't take advantage of them because they understand it.
Right.
But a lot of people here, and there's nothing wrong with it, but a lot of people here don't understand it, and they love that. They think they can get into your shit and take money out of your pocket that you can't afford to lose anymore. You're thinking this is going to gain you more. It's going to make less rides. It's going to make more competition. It's going to make more 15% more of your money being pulled out to a union that, like California, we've talked about it too many times, so I won't even go there, but whose hands are tied. Your union, if you guys get this union in California, we've looked it through. It can't do one thing for you.
No.
I mean, because of the ratified Supreme Court ruling on 22, it can't do a damn thing. You're literally going to pay somebody just to, hey, man, I got some extra money to throw around because I'm a rideshare driver. Here.
People still think Prop 22, they're still spreading the propaganda about Prop 22. Literally yesterday, I had a guy get in my car. He's like, oh, I was on a business trip, and it was like a few months ago. He was out in LA and he's like, oh, this driver told me about all the great stories about how they all got together, they're making more money and this. I said, bullshit. I said, go listen to my podcast. I told him mine and yours. I said, do you want to hear the truth of it and really what's going on? I said, that whoever that driver was, I said, did his profile picture match everything to begin with? But yeah, that propaganda is still so freaking powerful because they're dying by it now, Steve. And that's the problem, is that they're like, oh, we really screwed up. We oversaturated the market and everything else. So yes,
it's giving me a headache though, because it reminds me of the what I talked about and said I'm not gonna anymore. Listen, on Monday I said I'm not gonna read you a 3-year-old law anymore. If you can't Google it yourself, have somebody read it to you. Okay, I am done with that. But what I'm going to tell you is, if you live in California and in any way you're still on this propaganda boat with 22, Google it and Google Prop 22 Supreme Court ruling 2025. That's enough for you to read that it is in your law, and basically even the state of California is sick of dealing with Prop 22 cases. So it's solidified it. It said, fuck you, man. It said, fine, you want 120% of minimum wage, you got it. So now a union representative, like we talked about before, would have to change the entire minimum wage for every city in California.
Yep.
It's the only way they can get you a raise. And by the way, those union people don't have that power. They're not the people who fight for minimum wage labor law. They're not that type. They're supposed to, a union's supposed to be fighting for you and whatnot and your protections. But it's just a joke. In the beginning, people got away with a shit ton of stuff with 22, and that's why it spread like wildfire amongst YouTube and some other communities. But there's some podcasts out there from the beginning that knew, like I always talked about, saying, no, dude, this isn't going to do that. And the problem was people were doing triple app time. So like you could dirty stack, as people call it. You could take a Grubhub order, you could take a Instacart order, you could take an Uber Eats and a DoorDash all within an hour.
Right.
Let's say that they were possible to all get done in an hour. You could do all of them for $2 an offer. So you're only going to make $8, no tips on any, but you would get paid 120% of minimum wage. So if you lived in San Francisco, where the minimum wage is $20, you would get $24 an hour on each of the 4 platforms. So in one single hour, you could make $100. But that only lasted about 11, 12 months. And then they caught on. They started actually doing some clawbacks. And now they're looking into anybody dirty stack.
Yep.
So now those people are under the gun.
But I know you're tired of talking about it, and I think that was a great way to summarize it, Steve, as we go into this, because a lot of people, and we have new people that come in, this and that, they don't understand the background. Those of you that have been with, Steve and now me with all this, I know this isn't new news to you, but we want to make sure everybody understands the course of all this. So, Steve, I know you're tired of it, brother, but it's an important piece of history. It's like if you don't talk about history, you're sure to repeat it. And this is why we've got to talk about the history so we can stop all this future bullshit that's starting to happen.
Facts. And like right here, so Tim's saying Prop 22 seems to be for people happy making, but here's the problem. It's not, because it's active time.
Correct.
So you're not being
they lock
paid
them
minimum
out
wage.
passively.
That's why Fresno Logistics, the biggest joke ever, and that thing in Austin won in Fresno Logistics. Fresno Logistics was paying minimum wage in Fresno, not 120% of it, as as an hourly wage, and it was your car, expenses on you, everything. So it still was like you were independent, but you were a W-2 worker for Fresno Logistics. And for $16 an hour, because it depends where you live in the state, 16 to 20 bucks, $16 an hour, running your car into the ground in California, you had to do and there was no, I'm not going to take that one. Everything they gave you, you had to do.
Is there anybody in this chat that can survive on $16 an hour of actual working time?
Pre-tax. This is a W-2 also. Pre-taxes and pre-expenses.
Right.
We'd be getting down to about $6-7 maybe on average after it.
Right. After you get done with all your expenses with your vehicle, your fuel, your freaking insurance, everything that people aren't calculating, $6-7. You might even be generous. It might be $4, depending on what they're driving.
So real quick, I want to jump into this Illinois thing. So, because the Illinois thing, we're going to have to go farther into, but I did, like I said, I bullet pointed these for tonight. In Illinois, the most significant recent legislation affecting gig workers is a statewide effort to give rideshare drivers collective bargaining rights while keeping them classified as independent contractors. If you guys don't understand why that doesn't work, that's one of the biggest problems ever.
Right.
But the Transportation Network Driver Labor Relations Act 2526, Illinois General Assembly passed legislation known as the Transportation Network Driver Labor Relations Act in 2026. This bill will allow drivers for companies such as Uber and Lyft to form and join driver organizations, unions, elect bargaining representatives, negotiate collectively over pay, benefits, safety, and working conditions, and pursue remedies for unfair labor practices. I don't know about you guys, but that doesn't even sound partially like a W-2. That sounds like an over-the-top W-2 with a union attached the day you're hired.
Yeah, right.
I mean, this isn't even on that's why I said this one's not even on the fringe. This one's so over the top and gone that they're literally they're not only trying to make you employees, they're trying to say you can form unions. You not these percentages like Massachusetts or California did. Get 10, get 5, whatever. None of that crap. Just you can form them right away. Collective bargaining. You're an independent contractor. Literally goes against the definition in every state. One of the first things it says in your state law, I don't care what state you live in labor law for independent contractor, is no collective bargaining.
Right.
Deal with it, people. This is a joke. This is why I said Illinois is in a lot of trouble.
Illinois. Al Capone still hasn't been found, so he ain't gonna help your ass. All right, so you're on your own. This collective bargaining BS is nothing but BS.
So here's some of the bullet points I made, though. Importantly, the legislation does not automatically reclassify drivers as employees, even though it's doing all of that. It creates a collective bargaining framework while preserving independent contractor status. I don't even know how to.
But it doesn't.
I can't even wrap my.
It bastardizes it.
I don't even know. Honestly, guys, this is a tough one for me because I don't even know how to wrap my head around that.
That is a freaking word
it's like polar opposites.
Yes, it's a freaking word salad. Yeah, polar opposite. That's exactly it. I mean, no.
Yeah. So, so then there's also the Freelancer Worker Protection Act that's going into effect in Illinois. I hate that this is all happening.
Oh
to
boy.
Illinois also enacted the Freelancer Worker Protection Act, which provides protections for certain independent contractors and freelancers. The law generally requires written contracts for every gig you do. So every rideshare ride you take, you have to write a contract and have the customer sign it.
Well,
hold on, it gets better. Timely payments, because we all know that at the end of a independent contractor gig, like if you're doing the plumbing for a house or whatever, the day you're done, you get paid everything. I think they're allowed 24 hours, but under this, they have a carve out or whatever, reposition. So they're saying that, and I think they're going to put a 24-hour thing on it. But with the gig apps, they're putting 30 minutes on it. They have 30 minutes to pay you after each gig.
See, this tells me, Steve, that these are people that have no concept of what really they're looking at it as traditional 1099 work. Okay, traditional for lack of a better term, but you and I know what that means. And that's probably my biggest complaint about being a 1099 contractor is get my clients to pay. So, but they think this matters with Uber and Lyft and DoorDash and Grubhub and all this other bullshit. No, I mean, that's collective bargaining. What benefit is that you can already cash out immediately on frickin' Lyft for $1.75, on frickin' Uber for $1.25. I don't know what Lyft or DoorDash is anymore. You can immediately cash out. So what benefit are they giving? This sounds like
not only you can, they have to cash you out. So if you do 10 rides in a day, they're going to have to cash you out after every ride, which is 10 transactions. On top of all the other problems.
Okay, but that is fluff. That's a concession. They're like, oh, well, we'll cash everybody out. But they are actually losing a whole lot of money on that interest that was sitting in there with everybody. So that's actually a good thing with this. So
it's a good thing, but you know what? I think all of us would be okay with a free cash out nightly.
Right. One free cash out.
No, just automatic 10 p.m. Whatever you've done or whatever you've done by 10 p.m. is cashed out.
Yeah,
at 11,
just roll it over.
You're into the next days. That's what Curry does.
Honestly,
I can pay $1 or I can pay 1% of my Curry earnings to cash out instantly in 1 minute, or I can every day at noon, including the weekends. Every day at noon, an instant deposit goes in my account as long as I finish the job. As long as I finish a job by 11:59 a.m., it goes into that noon's payment.
And see, and honestly, if we're going to negotiate this, I'd be willing to say, okay, at 12:01 a.m., so mean next business day or next day, fine. Let them draw the interest off of it, because that's why they hold our frickin' money in all these gig, and then they have your Cimarron card, cinnamon card, whatever the fuck Uber, freaking DoorDash has, and and everybody has their own little cards because they want to keep your money in their bank so they can keep making all this money. I don't care if you want it 12:01 a.m. if you want to collect it all day long, the interest on it, and they'll still make a lot of money on that. And then 12:01 a.m. it goes into my account. Be willing to make that concession.
Sure. As long as it's every day at the same time and it's something you know up front. And that's going to play into something we're going to talk about a little bit. But you know what? Since we're on a roll with this, I'm just going to finish up this one. Then Sean's going to take us through a couple topics before we hit on the other one that is the transparency versus everything collapsing, basically. But I want to talk about Pennsylvania legislation. Brian, this one's for you and all you other Pennsylvania one. You guys are actually getting something a little better. because you guys fought for things. So let's talk about, there's 3 things going on in Pennsylvania right now. They will affect Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Instacart, Amazon Flex, etc., all of them. So first of all, the proposed App Worker Transparency Act of 2026, baby. Woo!
2026.
I'm just saying, people didn't think we've had it for 3 years. Well, Pennsylvania very likely is getting it, by the way. And very interestingly, it's so far it's a group of 3 Democrats. They have both sides of the aisle, but 3 Democrats started this, supported it, started it.
Okay.
And now both sides of the aisle are coming on board. So Pennsylvania's pulling their head out of their ass a little bit. But a group of Pennsylvania Democrats, got to give them the credit where credit is due, including Rick, I'm going to demolish his name, Krajewski, Arian Abney, and Jessica Benham circulated a proposal called the App Workers Transparency Act. This proposal would require all app-based companies to provide greater transparency regarding how pay is calculated, how work assignments are made, why workers are suspended or deactivated, detailed pay statements and receipts, and algorithmic management practices that would be overseen and looked into. So, if you guys can't see why that's huge, that kind of follows what we did here, but it's their own little taste of it. It's got a little different, I mean, how pay is calculated. Interesting. Because that kind of goes to what Sean and what we're going to end with later tonight, because that's kind of how it should be, because we can't figure it out. Nobody can. How work assignments are made. Yeah. Is it closest to pin? Are you doing it by these? They're approaching it from a dissection level. Let's make sure that you're not using these tiers, because they're putting independent contractorship on the line on Pennsylvania. They're saying, if you can't do this, we're going to call them employees. And you guys can deal with that. And we know that, by the way, any states or any people listening that want to get active in your state, first of all, you can always email me. But second of all, remember, this is where all of the leverage is. If you can say to the company, we want to know how the pay is calculated. We want to know that your tier system is gone because it's illegal. Otherwise, we need to classify them as employees. All that's what will get them to change. You have to force they don't care about, like, when you're like, pay our guys 150% of minimum wage. At this point, the gig companies are like, fine, it's active time and we will throttle them. I mean, they just don't care. And as we are seeing in other places, they can also do things down the road because the legislators will miss it about, like, now, okay, we made that bad deal, remove the tip option. And once they do that, now you're really screwed. You will make less, by the way.
Well, and that's actually a comment Torp made much earlier. It says, once all this shit passes, I mean, you think your tips suck right now? Wait till all that happens. Brian's in. There we go. Brian.
So, Brian, that's the first one for you. Portable benefits for app-based workers. So, because of the national legislation, Pennsylvania has attached a proposal called Senate Bill 967. So it's SB 967. Would establish a portable benefit system funded by app-based transportation and delivery companies. The concept is that workers could accumulate benefits that follow them across different platforms while remaining independent contractors. Exactly how the national bill went. It's perfect. And then they have something very interesting. Very interesting. Number 3, the anti-batchbot proposal. And yes, batchbots in quotes. The anti-batchbot proposal, I love this. A separate 2026 proposal seeks to address the use of automated software, batchbots or batch grabbers, that can quickly claim high-paying delivery orders before other workers have a chance to accept them. The legislation is intended to protect workers who rely on these gig apps for a living. The fact that they're onto this is amazing, and it's awesome.
That's why I'm like, holy smoke, what the hell? Somebody's finally waking up.
That's a huge one, man, because that passes.
Absolutely.
It'll be like when we pass transparency here. That's why transparency is going there and other places, because people are looking at here. But you pass anti-batch bot, other states will look at that.
Yeah, but so they tried to do it here. It failed. Well, it didn't. It passed the House and everything else with trying to go through all they call it surveillance pricing here. But then the governor, good old tech bro, frickin' shitbag, vetoed it. So I hope.
But that was surveillance pricing on how they're pricing to the customers.
Okay, right. But it also fell over to the drivers as well,
of course,
too.
Because how they price what they price a customer at, what the driver will get.
Because they're smart about this, because they're gonna take that freaking elephant and they're gonna eat it one bite at a time, instead of like with this thing, which everybody knew it was gonna get vetoed by Polis, and I bet you it does not come back up in the next legislative session. Just mark my freaking word. We'll see what happens once we get a new freaking governor, when the shitbag that we have is off running for freaking president. He'll be vice president whenever freaking Newsom is trying to run for president. And I hope they all die in the San Andreas fault when we have a big earthquake. All of you people,
he doesn't really hope they die.
Get your ass out of here. But anyway, I digress. But so,
I mean,
get us back on track, Steve.
Well, I mean, we don't hope anybody dies. Wink, wink. But I mean, there's some that would be fun.
It would be for a noble cause. We would call them martyrs.
So on Sean's thing, we got into why the Transparency Act, and guys, we're 3 signatures short of 500. We're still short. We're 3 short. I checked right before the show.
3?
Yeah, just come on, guys. If you haven't signed yet, that's how much of a difference you can make tonight. You can get us to 500.
I guarantee you'll be to 500 by tomorrow morning.
So, I mean, but before we get to that last thing, because this is why people need this. I've come up with a way that Sean and I can explain how the companies would do better, how the companies would lose lawsuits and all kinds of other stuff. But before we're gonna drop in a couple of quick relief stories just to kind of get the blood moving again, because that was 3 legislative stories. Those were bullet points. We will get into them deeper as we can. But as you guys heard, you can already I can put them in order. Pennsylvania rocks, Wisconsin's lame, and Chicago sucks. Their legislation.
You know what? And while we're hanging out in the Midwest, let's talk about the RoboCop that got freaking fired because he sucked.
Right.
And Steve, I think his new life is going to become one of your favorite things as a dot delivery worker. So in Dublin, Ohio, they had these freaking stupid, I don't know if y'all have seen the videos. If you haven't, go check them out. But they're glorified. No, they're not even glorified. They insult freaking security guards. Going, you are in a, it's like RoboCop gone bad. You are trespassing. This is past 10 o'clock. Please go home. Anyway, so they paid an ungodly amount of money for this thing, and I'm trying to pull it up, but I keep getting spammed with stupid stuff because I sent a bad article. So, but they paid it was like $67,000, but they really paid over $100,000 for this freaking thing, Steve. But the company was reimbursing them, but they were supposed to spend a whole crap load more money on these crappy security guards. I mean, come on, everybody. We used to always make fun of security guards, call them Blart. I love Blart. Love that movie, by the way. Kevin James, you're awesome. But they would stop, or I'm going to say stop again. But now you got a stupid robot that's sitting there telling them that. This robot was supposed to issue tickets. It was supposed to do all this other crap. It was both the best and the worst cop in the world, depending on what you are. So they terminated the contract with him. And so now he's looking for work. He's probably going to have a cardboard sign. Steve, could you connect him with Dot?
No.
No?
I can connect him with
man.
dropping him in the middle of Lake Superior.
That might be his next. That might be his next assignment. But when are these people? I mean, Dublin's not a huge town in Ohio. It's not like Dayton or hell, even Canton, Akron area. These robot companies are exploiting people with all these bullshit false promises and everything. When are we going to learn? I mean,
I don't know. You had me at the cop part. Like, I'm trying to figure out. So this cop is a humanoid robot.
No, it's a freaking little Dot freaking version.
Okay, so it doesn't have a car. It is the car. It's its own.
No,
it's a self-contained little.
It looks like a freaking Wall-E if it was special needs.
I think I've seen those out in California. They might. I don't know if they've just been security or what, but I've seen them. It looks like a white dildo.
Yep, that's a good way to describe it. That's not what most people call it, but short and wide. If that's your thing.
But it does at the top. It has this weird. It shouldn't look. It shouldn't look like that. It's way too phallic symbol. There's something going on there. But yeah, I don't know what those are supposed to do anyway. I mean, obviously the fear is supposed to be that it's recording you because you could kick it over. You could run away from it.
This thing's not doing it. And that was kind of the funny thing. And I saw a video and maybe I'll put it on my show for Tuesday, is this guy that's evading one of these stupid little things. He's literally like, oh, you can't see me now. Oh, you can't see me now. And it's like, you're trespassing. It is after hours. You must leave the park, blah, 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 bullshit. And then all of a sudden, dude points and it literally looked around. And so, man, when are municipalities going to quit wasting money on crap like this? And when are we going to send these things to the junkyard, Steve? I mean,
that's the other thing. I don't know if you have it in front of you, but what does it cost?
And that's why I kept trying to
find. I'm sure it doesn't want to say. That's something you would have to really look
it
for.
It was in the same range as the Dots. It was in this, I think, 67,000.
Okay.
So
it's less than a Dot. A Dot's 110.
No. But that's because they got a 50% refund from because this freaking piece of crap got fired.
We're paying the cop robots half. Or the cost of a cop robot is half of a $2 no-tip delivery robot.
Right. And but it does half the job of it too. So you get what you pay for.
Just saying, what I'm trying to make clear to people so that they're laughing like we do sometimes about stuff like this is that if you believe $110,000 Dot is a doable thing for this company, you're crazy. I mean, some of them won't make it a week. Some of them will get hit by a car. Some of them will need repairs or will have an issue. And it'll be like that bunk car that even a new car, you just get the bunk one and it's always in the shop. I mean, I think everybody forgets how trash they're going to get, how destroyed, all of this on top of their unbelievable cost. Plus human people that aren't in the Philippines are going to be required in the state to be monitoring. I mean, none of this works. So to the companies listening, we're on to you. And I know that I know what they love. They love that a lot of people don't know that we're onto them and that they're not onto them yet, but more people are getting onto it. More people are coming and watching and listening to the podcast. People are waking up. Customers, everybody's waking up, dude. So you companies who think that forever you've got away with going, no, it's not like that. We all know now, and we're making sure more people know.
Right. But here's the thing, Dublin Police Department, someone was smart enough to go, because they were supposed to have 2 of these stupid things. Someone at Dublin Police Department said, hold on, let's do a trial period and see what happens. So at least somebody was awake in Dublin. Whoever the hell you are, good job. And yeah, man, hopefully everyone else starts waking up to these stupid things, because it's, I don't know, do they get to collect unemployment now?
I don't even think they get paid, do they? The whole point is that that's where they try and trick people. Oh, well, dude, with the robots, we don't have to pay them. Really? You don't have to pay $110,000 up front to build it. You don't have to pay $90,000 every 6 months for maintenance. So about 300 grand, and then you don't have to have a W-2 person watching over it. Sounds to me like a $500,000 ordeal.
Right.
To deliver $2 orders without a tip.
Well, and I think that's going to be the next career for this, for this thing. It's going to become a dot and delivering the $2, no tip orders. But yeah, we'll have the link to this video, or I mean, to this article, so you can see the, what Steve referred to as well. Anyway, I'm going to call it as other people have kind of an egg shape, for lack of a better term, but. So they spent $128,000 on this robot, and then they got a $60,000 rebate from this thing. So it's more than a dot, but no tickets. Maybe we should just let them go.
This is an extra loaded question.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Sue said above, she's talking about it doesn't matter. So what she's saying is, here's the problem. I could handwrite or AI make an insurance placard from D minus insurance, a company that doesn't even exist, and say that there's a policy number and this. They just care that you uploaded one because it's on you. They're just doing it for their insurance to say, yes, he uploaded one. It doesn't mean they're checking it. They're not checking your insurance.
No, they don't give a shit. They're doing it for plausible, deniability.
Yes. So I've seen a little conversation going on about this. We can address that on another. I'll address that Monday on the podcast, because that's a whole thing. But I do think it is worth, wherever you live, I think it's worth looking into. Just get on. Use an LLM, even start with an LLM. You get on ChatGPT, but don't make it your friend. Don't say, I don't need a different insurance to do rideshare, do I? Because then it's going to be your buddy and go down the rabbit hole and find why you don't need it. But if you could word your question real, I live in this state, I do these gig apps, do I need extra insurance? If you see any answer in the LLM come up as questionable, you might want to call a couple other companies. If you're with Progressive, call State Farm, call Allstate, call Geico. Call some of the ones you're not with and just ask them. Pretend like, you don't have to give them a name. I know that a lot of them want to do it AI on the internet, but don't even do that. Call them and ask them. Say, before I even give you any information, I'm just curious. Do you have different rates for a driver if they're doing gig work? And say which ones you do. I don't do rideshare, but I just do food delivery. Ask them. See what they say.
Right.
Because if they say yes, they're not just trying to con you. Then actually, there probably is a requirement in your state, and you should find out about it.
Well, it's really every
because
it's
complicated.
It's not state dependent.
It's complicated. Even each state, it's complicated.
Yeah. Right. And but the coverage only covers you when you're not in a ride, whether you're sitting in a parking lot or you're driving down the road. Now, that's a whole nother thing that I briefly touched on, and I plan on talking about on my podcast, Steve, is about this new bill within the transfer. I briefly touched on it Tuesday, but there's a whole bill out there that they're trying to eliminate Uber and Lyft's liability and all the
Yes.
food delivery services. So, guys, that's actually a great question, Torp, and I don't remember who
Yes.
originally asked the question, but this is something that you guys need to look into. We are
And
not
follow,
insurance
and we'll keep
agents.
talking about it because, as Sean's saying,
Right.
they're trying to take it even farther. But like,
Yep.
I'll point out something that since we're here, like state, you know how there's there used to be stage 0. I don't know if it doesn't. Sergio and I talk weekly, and the last time we were talking about this about a month or two ago, he was like, "No, there's only 1, 2, and 3." But I know there used to be a 0. I was like, "What? There used to be a 0, dude," and then there did, and that's when you were just sitting somewhere waiting for a ping. That was 0.
Right.
But regardless, whatever the last stage is, let's just call it 3 for a minute. Okay.
Well, now they're calling them periods even. So they've
Okay,
yeah,
but
they're trying
the
to
like
narrow it
so okay, with most companies, if I'm doing Uber Connect, I'm going to use them because they're horrible. If I'm doing Uber Connect,
right.
and I get to the what they would call stage 2 or 3, the picking it up from a customer, taking it to the delivery drop off, and getting that
Right.
part of the process done, that's where Uber has you covered. But they have you
Right.
covered with your insurance. And the first thing they do in any instance is try and put the whole bill on your insurance.
Absolutely.
First thing they do, they call your insurance and they say, "Hey, if screw this, we're not paying anything. He made a dumbass mistake. He's an independent contractor." It's
Right.
not the verbal garbage you get every day when you're signing up. But like now I'm going to use Curry. Curry doesn't even talk about the other stages, but stage 2 to 3, pick up to drop off. My insurance is out of the picture. Curry has me 100% covered under them. Anything
Right.
happens, I'm covered. And my insurance doesn't even know about it. It is a Curry umbrella coverage from when you pick up the item till you drop it off.
Yeah. So, and right.
But
so
I think there's
got-
more to be said about that. What I will say for now is
Yep.
definitely start looking into your state. Some states probably just, if anything, if your state doesn't have anything about it, it's probably like so many other states. It just hasn't gotten around to it yet. It will. Because all states are trying to find a way to,
Right.
to hit us hard and hit the companies, and they don't care, you know, I mean, until it affects them getting reelected. So you're hurting too many constituents like the food delivery apps are doing. The food delivery apps, your representatives now have to take the side of the voters because the merchants are pissed. Once the merchants
Right.
start leaving and businesses close in your area, that's when somebody will not get elected again. So that's when they'll
Yeah.
care and go, "Well, wait a minute, we actually care about this." No, you don't.
Right.
You just don't. You just want to get reelected. But that's okay. We can dish out the darkness until you're ready to do the right thing. You know, I guess my point is, since they're all scumbags, we can play scumbaggery until you're ready to do the right thing. We can
Right.
threaten you back. There's a lot of threats back. But before we move to this last topic, what is Dash Jacked?
Hang on 1 second here. I'm sending a message to David, but anyway, so I don't. This is actually a good safety thing. You know, we haven't done one of those in a while, and you know, we all know that's what I'm passionate about. But what I'm seeing, I think, what happened here. So we had a DoorDash driver in Michigan, freaking Michigan. He was in Roseville. Now, are you familiar with the Roseville area, Steve?
Yeah, a little bit.
So it's around 12 Mile, right?
I thought it was around Ferndale, but okay, I'll take that.
It's around Ferndale. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that area, but I know when you like get to, you know, of course.
I guess I'm
everybody knows 8
I'm
Mile
just
'cause
trying
of
to.
freaking
It's been a
M&M.
while, but I'm just trying to determine if it's east or west of Woodward. It's kind of like Woodward's like I-25, even though it's just a road. It goes north south, and it's like, do you?
Well, I
follow
don't
the
know
east
if
or
you'd have read
west
the
side?
damn article I sent you.
I know. Well, I
Yeah,
was working,
so-
man.
It was 12-mile, and you're right, because what I learned the few times that I was in Detroit is that, like, you go from 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and there's a very small, and there's certain areas and pockets within those that it's like, oh, that's fine to go to, and then there's other pockets that's like, don't freaking leave your hotel, because there was a hotel that I was staying at, and I don't remember what mile road it was, and it was like, okay, you're fine here within a block or so, and and yada yada. So anyway, this was in Roseville. It's not necessarily important for the story, but it does kind of lay the picture out, because we know Detroit is some great areas, some wonderful areas, and then some complete shit areas as well. But so guy was going
Even the shit areas are
deliver-
cool, man.
I didn't say they weren't cool. I just said there were shit areas.
Sorry,
So-
guys. I'm a Detroit lifer. Like I will fight for Wyandotte, way south of 8 Mile, downriver,
He'll fight.
scumbaggery.
He'll fight for the Lions and freaking Red Wings or Dead Things, whatever they're called. Anyway, so dude goes to drop off his DoorDash delivery, and can you guess what happened next, Steve? Somebody jumps in his damn car, and obviously, guys, when you're doing food delivery, don't be lazy. Shut your fucking car off. Stop doing that. And I'm guilty too. I've done it, guys. I'm criticizing myself too. You get in a hurry, you're like, oh, this is a quick drop off and this and that. Well, this is what happened. Dude goes to gets his food out, and all of a sudden some dude goes to jump into his car. He goes running off there, and he's like, oh, wait, don't steal my car. He runs after the guy. Door's still open. He's getting drugged down the road a little bit. But guys, the moral of the story, number one, if your car's getting jacked, well, that's on you, especially when you're not in the vehicle and you left it running. Don't leave your damn car running. Number two, if your car's running, your car's getting jacked, go, well, I went and fucked up. I shouldn't have done that. And let the car and the cops go do their thing. Because meanwhile, this whole thing went crazy, Steve. And I don't know if it was because the guy hanging onto the car, but they run into a fence, they do all this. So, now he took probably what would have been a dump and run. Guy might have robbed a liquor store or something, and then, dumped the car later. But now his car got freaking trashed and he doesn't have a job. So,
Yeah.
I know this isn't a surprising story for you, Steve, coming out of Detroit, but it's more of a lesson for everybody.
If you got, yeah, I don't know if I want to tell people, but if you guys, I'm going to tell you, if you guys want to do this, go look, you want to see something messed up, go look up, I don't remember the year. So YouTube, Detroit police station shooting. It was many years ago, but this guy comes in with a shotgun.
Yep.
He's got another one on his back. He takes the shotgun, pumps it, shoots the cop at the desk, does like a trick jump and roll over the desk, then starts taking out every cop. And the whole thing's still on YouTube even.
Right.
I mean, it's insane, dude. He shoots like 6 cops. And this is just a guy that walked in like, hey, man, I know exactly he's like,
which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. And then he's like jumping. I mean, shit happens, man. It doesn't have to be Detroit.
Right. Well, but what I'm going to tell y'all is that go to the show notes whenever Steve Steve gets done posting it. But you got to look at the wxyz.com. So the customer, she was like freaked out and calls 911 and this and that. But go look at the show notes and they got a picture of her from the link in this, and she's very Detroit looking.
So I need to pull this up because, and I saw Torp even responded to it. How far will a vehicle go without the key fob? You guys, it's
10 minutes.
He's saying 20 to 50 feet. Hold on a second, because I need to say this. My RAV4 that I have right now is a 2015. If I start it, you can take it to Canada without the key fob.
Okay, good
But
point.
there are newer cars that, yes, have a dynamic
Right.
range on them.
Most new vehicles, including mine, that you can go 10 minutes without it, with the key fob.
Yeah, I could turn mine on,
let
let Max go up to Summit County and come back.
Right. Good point. As long as it stays running.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it stays running.
Great question and great response to that. Yeah, absolutely.
Because
anyway.
I guess I'm pointing out, I know it's 11 years now, so it does now, even to me, it sounds like my car's old. but a 2015 car didn't even do that. In 2015, the fobs still just they start them. That's what they do. They unlock the doors. And in fact, when the battery dies, we all know you push the fob against the starter. So there's a mech in there that can make it start even when the battery dies.
And most people don't even know that. So great auto advice from Steve Rideshare Rodeo. He's going to be starting his new podcast on.
You don't think most people know that?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I
well,
do.
If you guys don't know that, if your fob key dies and it's like blinking and you've been putting off getting a new battery forever, you're like, it's dying. And you got pushed 100 times and it does it.
Right.
And then finally it goes dead and it won't even start your car. If you take the fob and you have to push it against the start button and hold it for 5 seconds, it will start your car.
No, how do I know that? Because one thing I've not talked about is I just recently started doing roadside assistance stuff for Allstate, and the number of people that are like, "Oh, my key fob's dead," and this and that, and which is all a separate issue because some of them, dude, don't even know that you can pull the little plastic piece off and pull an actual key out of the key fob. So no, there's a whole lot of people that don't understand that kind of basic car stuff that's just obvious to you and I. So
yeah. This is the last topic we have for tonight, guys. So we're in overtime, but we have just enough time to get into it. And if we need more time, we'll come back to it. But we were talking on Sean's on Tuesday about transparency, why it was so important. Again, guys, Sue put it in there somewhere. Sign the thing. We're like 3 signatures away. Maybe by the time we're done, we're not. Maybe we'll be there. Maybe 3 of you signed up tonight and we'll hit 500. But when I'm saying transparency, and I challenged anybody to go read that and say, please tell me why you wouldn't sign this. That's kind of my challenge. Because with a lot of things that you might sign, you might go, well, I love this, but I hate this last 7th point. But you still might sign it. My thing is, with what we've put up, I want to know why you would oppose any part of it. And it's all the right of an independent contractor. We're not asking for something that needs to change a law. It's actually already in the law. It's just not being followed. So we're just saying you must follow this for you and classify them that way. But why transparent? So I think when we were talking about like percentages, like I was saying how when I started with Uber and Lyft in 2015, 14, whatever the hell that was, it was a 80-20 split for the driver. And you saw the total amount. This is way before metrics, guys. There was a whole long time before metrics. But this is before metrics. It showed you what the payment was, and it showed you what you were getting, and it was 80%. So when it surged, you were getting 80% of the customer's pay. Not a dynamically priced, this is what you get, shut the fuck up. It was like, okay, well, this is how much we're taking in from the customer. And even before the final receipt, you would know I'm getting 80% of that. And you would. And what my thing is, let's take away the sexual assault lawsuits that could put Uber out of business this year. No joke. Or at least in such financial ruins, they would have to very much go back to the drawing board and go, wait, what the hell are we going to do here? Would they maybe operate just in other countries till they can figure it out? But there things could seriously fall apart here very quickly if these lawsuits keep going badly. And I don't expect them to start going well. They are trying to get like a an inverted class action against all the lawsuits. I don't even understand it, but some judges are
they're
listening.
Trying to wrap them all. They're trying to force all of these cases to be pulled together into one and make one determination. So, like you said, it's kind of a reverse where the.
But that's what they. But the funniest thing is that's what they've always said we can't do.
Right, but now they're
you have to go in for arbitration. But now they're like, no, not on this. If you're sexually assaulted, just deal with it, dude. Don't be a baby. That's their answer. You know, maybe rideshare's not for you if you're getting sexually assaulted. That's like that. That's literally how they sound when they say things.
Oh, absolutely.
But I guess I wanted to point this out. So transparency. Why would it be good so when people are like, okay, yes, the transparency thing sounds great. I see Aaron's gigs in here. What's up, Aaron? Aaron, I don't think I've seen your name on that. Aaron's in Phoenix. Get your name on that, brother. You would help us. And you can read it. You'll love it. But add your name and email, please. But here's the thing. So people say, well, yeah, but if you go to that 80-20 split, the company can't make money. No, I don't think that the 80-20 split was to populate all the cities.
Right.
Because no rideshare company has ever made it unless you had 3 times as many drivers, even in the early days. And this is why it gets really hard, because even in the early days, you have to have 3 times as many drivers as passengers. So you have to incentivize the shit out of those drivers to sit there in the beginning. Uber did that. And they kept you busy. But they were still onboarding. Once we got to the oversaturation and all this, they went to dynamic. And by dynamic, Sean said the word plausible deniability earlier tonight. That's exactly what soon that's going to be a major problem, because the companies will go, I don't know. It'll almost be like, dude, I don't even have a clue what the algorithm does anymore. Even our coders don't understand it. And they're going to fully understand it. But if an algorithm were to get audited, they're going to have a backdoor entry and say, yeah, here's our books. It's going to be algorithm cooked books ready for an audit.
Right.
So that's not going to work either. So these fixes need to happen. They need to happen quick. But here's why I say dynamic pricing is a dynamic disaster, because they're losing merchants. They're pissing off customers. I mean, beyond belief. The drivers have been pissed for a long time, but now they're losing all the people up the chain. Everybody. Everything's down. People don't want to use it. Even the people that have to on the daily are pissed. I mean, and they're paying a lot more, and they're paying a lot more for worse service, dirtier cars, crappier rides.
Yep.
I mean, you're paying twice as much for a shitty ride.
Right.
So my thing is, why not have a fixed percentage? Now, I'm going to throw out a number, and it could be a little higher for the company, could be a little lower, but you probably won't like it out of the gate. Okay, let's start with 30%. Let's say that Uber and Lyft could take 30% of every customer's payment, and the driver gets 70 with complete transparency. So you see the customer paid this, driver gets 70. You see that. That's how it's done. And any tip is right to the driver and stays out of the hands of the company.
Correct. That's a pass-through.
Right. This is just the rate without a tip. 70% to the driver, 30% to the company. Now, the company already does surge, flat surge. Oh, we're going to just surge because we're going to pretend like we need to surge. They do so much crap. But at the end of the day, they are just a dispatch platform with an algorithm that dispatches rides to us, opportunities we would not have without them. So it has a lot of benefits. But why not just make it 30? Hell, I'll even say this, and this is where you guys won't like me. I'm going to go to the extreme. I was going to say 35, but I'm going to go one worse. Let's say it was locked in for 10 years, and then they could move up a percent or two, or at least they could revisit it. But for the next 10 years, if it was a 60-40 split with Uber, I don't like it. No, I don't like it. I just wanted to use this example because it still works.
For sure. But it's still better than what most drivers get anyway.
And that's what I was going to say, because right now it's 80-20 still, but you're getting 20.
Right.
So if it were set, I think a lot of people think, well, if the company's taken 70 or 80%, above 50, we already know that's the average. They're taking more than 50% just to send you the opportunity. That didn't anywhere used to be the case. So, okay, 60, 30%, whatever it is. And if you're going, they won't make as much money if they do that. Why? Because they're the pricing company. They would actually be in complete control of how much they make with a fixed rate. Drivers would understand better which rides, and they would even take rides that often they go, I don't want to do that one. I don't want to go down to Aurora this time of day. Or when you look at a percentage split, you might go, well, fuck, I'll do that. But it makes opportunities even look better, and it's not fake. It's real. But it would make them do what they're supposed to be doing, marketing and promotion. Right. And they would be charging customers accordingly to make sure they're making their nut on the 30, 40%. But think what that does for us. If they're fighting for their money, they're automatically fighting for ours.
Okay, but they lost their way so freaking long ago, Steve, that I don't think we can ever get back to that is the problem. You open Pandora's box, you let the cat out of whatever metaphor you want to freaking use, is that we're so far down the freaking rabbit hole. I don't know that we can ever recover from it is the problem. Everything you said 100%, but the problem is now you have the corporate greed because now they're publicly traded companies and everything else. I go on for days and days about what is so freaking broken about this industry. And again, can we fix it little by little?
And I'm sure there's people out there going, duh, dude, what Sean said, because they would just do it if it made more sense. Well, here's the thing.
No, they wouldn't.
Yeah. First of all, no, they wouldn't. But here's the thing. That's why I said, let's exclude the sexual assault, the SA cases.
Yep.
Okay. 90% of their lawsuits globally would drop the day that they went to a fixed model. If they went to transparency in a fixed model, even if it was things that weren't related to that, the lawsuits would drop initially because they'd want to see, wait a minute, are you guys trying to be legit on a level?
Right.
And my thing is if you lose 90% of take the SA out, the sexual assaults out, but if you lose 90% of the other lawsuits, that's a lot more income coming in. Or that's a lot less money not going out.
Right. But we know what happened with Uber. I mean, they had to make a declaration on their earnings announcement. What was it, back in February, March or something like that, because of all these lawsuits that are coming on. So yeah, you're right. And this goes back to we've gone so far down the freaking rabbit hole, and they made a deal with the devil. Devil. And so I don't know if there's any turning back. I hope there is, but man, this is tough. And you got this battle of legislation with people that are trying to do the right thing, and then the lobbying that's going on. We got to fix this, guys. We need your help.
Yeah. No.
Start off with signing the petition if you haven't, and if you disagree with something or don't understand it, I put kind of Steve Mai's email in the chat here earlier. Email either one of us, go on his Discord. I'm on there as well. Ask us some questions. We'd love to answer those questions. And that's the whole reason Steve and I do what we do, is because we're trying to educate people. We don't want to bash people. We don't want to do anything. We want to create a community, and we want to make it safer, better, and more profitable for people, not doing the one-on-one stuff. And we love those people that are doing that. But guys, we got to get involved here.
And that's why I think now it comes full circle. This is where I come back to the W2 minded people here. They're just trying to take advantage of those people because that's the majority of them. So if they can get those people thinking, no, dude, you're used to W2, just shut up and do what we say. And if they're like, if I bump into that person who's W2 minded and they're like, well, they told me to shut up and do what they say, I'd be like, well, let's have a coffee because I need to talk to you.
Right.
I was an independent contractor for decades prior to Uber even launching. So you
Right.
know what? Like, let's talk, because I need to inform you about some labor laws that they can't skirt tail anymore. They have to
Right.
deal with them now. And it's a big problem. This ABC test is a game ender. If you get put in the ABC test, and Uber's not going to go, let's just roll the dice and try it. They already know. They know the ABC test doesn't work. And they
Right.
know they definitely are never. I don't care if somebody's told you they'd try it, that person, nobody can say for sure what the future would bring, but I can tell you certainly they would never do a W-2 model. They would never even try it.
No.
They would
can't
close
afford
shop
to.
around the world before they would try it even.
Right. You think getting your 40 to 60% now is bad? Wait till they got to do unemployment insurance. They got to do workers' comp. They got to
You won't have to wait. They will never do it.
No, it won't. They will incorporate. They'll say we're going to pull back from everywhere that we can't put a Waymo into it, or an
or anywhere,
car.
Right now they'll treat it like any of you states that push that crap, we're gone, and they probably will be gone, and they'll make a deal to come back in. But that's still better. Making noise is great because that's still better than getting like what Wisconsin and Chicago are getting.
Correct.
I'd much rather have them go, we're pissed and we're pulling out. Cool. Because I know that them pulling out means they'll be back. Look at Austin.
Right.
They're going to come back, but they're going to have to come back with some settlement terms.
Yep. And what almost happened in Minneapolis, that was where they made a last minute settlement.
This is where weak leadership shows a lot. Because every time that Uber just does a little Uber flex of a muscle, all the lawmakers are like, oh, like, dude, shut the hell up, man. I've stood against these people.
Right.
You know, I didn't swear, but I've had a collared shirt on and said, fuck you, dude.
Right.
In my own words. You know, like that's
unions, including these fake unions, including CIDU here in Colorado, and all that bullshit. That's if you wanted to freaking do that, go up against them and get a freaking pair. Don't freaking just sit there and collect money from the states and go, oh, we're the driver representatives and all this bullshit. And that's what's getting ready to happen in Massachusetts. It's like, oh, we're going to have, driver reps for whenever they get deactivated and all that. Shit, look at what's going on in Colorado. I mean, there's cases that are going back to last year that CIDU is sitting on their ass, not doing a damn thing about, and I'm going to talk about that more next on my podcast on Tuesday, Steve. Yes, that was a primer.
So if you guys notice, even Sean and I, who are a little ahead of the bell curve with legislation, like you guys want some of what we already have, but as you can see, we're still not done. We still have fights here.
No.
And they still keep on coming up, and our lawmakers still keep coming up with more stupid ideas. And I'm seeing ads now. I'm sure everybody is now for political. We talked about midterms. I'm seeing ads for communists here in Colorado.
Dude,
I saw one today that blew my mind. I won't say the person's name, but it blew my mind. I was like, if anybody votes for this piece of shit, I don't care if you're left, right, liberal, center, far right, far. I don't care what you are. If you vote for this piece of shit, then you are a communist or you're stupid.
Did they go on the communist ticket or was it Democratic Socialist?
I think I don't even want to say Democratic Socialist anymore because I think there's Democrat Socialist. I think the Socialist is his own ticket too. I think it's a socialist.
Of course, it's
a socialist with a 25% communist hybrid.
Right. No, they're all of the same.
Which leads anybody with even a 5% communist. If I say that 5% communist hybrid, that means they're 100% communist. They're just trying to integrate.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
And that's, guys, you should all be afraid. Look at what happened in New York was it last night? Jesus Christ, dude. I mean, three socialists elected. One's a communist and has like war crimes. Come on, guys. What the fuck is going on?
But dude, there was another state. I don't remember what it is now. Now you got me freaking all amped up over this. They just won the freaking primary as a Democratic Socialist, meaning a freaking communist. And So this, and look, this isn't supposed to be a political thing for you or I, either one. We vote for our wallets, but this is dangerous, guys. Wake up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and they are very good at, by the way, I'm not going to talk Democrat Republicans, but I'm going to say these socialist communists, just as much as the most farthest right, like people who don't believe that you have, like, I'm gonna put out something that I believe, because the right doesn't, a lot of right doesn't believe this, but I do. I do believe in right to choose abortion. A lot of the right doesn't. I think that always hinders them in a big way. But the communist left is like, they are the masters at Trojan horse.
Right.
They know how to, like, say all the things that people under 30 will go, really? You're going to buy me a house and free groceries? And you're going to rub my feet every night after I work a 3-hour day and a 4-day week? And oh my God, I'm going to make more money? Shut up, dude. No, none of that's going to happen. Go look up, dude. Why did everybody want to move here? Maybe in some blown up version, this whole socialist thing is to get people to stop moving here and go, I don't want to go to the United States, dude. That place isn't free anymore. It's no different than our country.
Right.
I mean, and guys, there's some places that are socialists that might be great places to retire or go live if for you. You know, like I don't know. I mean, some places get by in that way, but not, this whole country is not made to be communist socialist at all.
Right.
At all.
Nope.
I mean, that right there, you can tell right there, it takes away the superpower of the world. And you might say, well, why does there need to be a superpower? Because if there's not, I don't want to get too far down this, but there's a country that starts with an R and one that starts with a C that is much bigger than other problems we face. And they always downplay them some. I mean, I would go to both and visit. So it's not like I'm afraid of the places, but those places would love to see us fall. They would love it. Oh, you're socialist communist now, you morons. I mean, if we don't start doing something, I mean, watching 3 elections happen and all 3 going to, all of the incumbents losing to socialists last night is amazing.
Right.
It's the only time ever I'll say this. I'm glad my dad has passed away. He would lose his shit if he knew that was happening in this country.
Guys, our country is now turning 250 years old of rebellion. 200, it started off with rebellion against this kind of shit. So we gotta wake up.
And why did everybody leave the other countries to come here 249 years ago? Tyranny.
Right.
Overlords.
Tyranny. Yep. Right. Because they got tired of freaking tyrannical governments, and now we're getting worse. So wake up. Contact your legislators, tell them what you as an individual, because I still believe we can make a change. It is very freaking difficult. Yes, you're right. But sitting on your ass or just sitting there listening to the 2 of us rant about this stuff is not enough to make a difference. We need your help too.
Yeah.
Get involved.
Starting with the signatures, guys. I know Sue put it in, but in that damn thing. I wish I could.
I asked her to put it back up. We didn't, and I scrolled through. I couldn't find it.
I'm just gonna see if I can see it, because if I can, I'm gonna put. Oh, and I saw Gigan came in here. Oh, okay. Hey, Gigan, what's up, dude? Hadn't seen you in a while. Where'd she put it? Oh, here it is.
I do not. Oh, you found it? Okay.
Yeah. So there we go. At least in my YouTube chat, it's pinned. The other ones, guys, you'd have to figure out what platform you're on and go look. Like on LinkedIn, I don't think you could go back to it. And on X, I don't know how you do it, but I can go over to there and do that. But so Obviously, there's a lot more to discuss.
You'll put it in the show notes, right? You'll
Yeah,
have
I'll
it in
put
the
it
show notes for
notes.
everybody.
Yeah. And I'll put a few things in there, but
and I'll make sure to put it on mine for those that are listening to mine.
for sure. And so here's the thing. We'll try and keep it to two, maybe we'll keep it to 2 states bullet pointed every week moving forward on Thursday that we talk about. And then if we need to go more in depth, we'll do that when we need to. But at least you should be up to date with the bullet points. I think that like the 3 states that I put together and covered, I did that because Brian asked me about Pennsylvania. And I've been working with people in Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania had something good going. So I didn't just want to read that good one. I wanted to read you guys the lazy ass state, Wisconsin. Sorry, I'm not accusing the people who live there. I'm just talking about your lawmakers are just straight. They're not even trying to get deals. They're just lazy.
Right.
But in Chicago, they're trying to screw you straight up. So I did want the comparisons. I mean, because there's a huge difference between Illinois and Pennsylvania. One's asking to help you. The other's saying we're going to just screw the shit out of you.
Right. So, you pick one state, I'll take another state, and we'll cover it. I'm taking Montana next week, guys, so it'll be a shorter one.
If it's ready, I'll take up Arizona, because Arizona has some crazy shit going on, but I'm not really sure.
Arizona's weird right now, politically, with everything that's going on.
The problem with talking, I was just going to say, the problem with talking about Arizona is I don't know what's going to happen in their elections. I mean, you might say you don't know what's going to happen in any. I do have a good feel for what's going to happen in a lot. But in Arizona, I'm really confused. I really don't know what's going on down there with.
Well, Arizona, I see, is kind of like how Colorado was. It's kind of going through an evolution, for lack of a better term, and not to just get crazy in the weeds about this. And I think that's what's going on. It's not like New Mexico, where all of a sudden it was one direction and boom, overnight it's like, wait, what happened in New Mexico? And I think that, and really, if you look at, they're being pulled a whole lot of directions right now. So that's actually a great state to watch what's going on.
Yeah. But guys, I think that was a lot of info. I think that we answered a lot of questions tonight too. But it's definitely a lot of info for those first 3 states. And we'll keep them coming, because you guys should know what's going on in your state. Maybe when we talk about your state, it'll click and you'll go, wait a minute, I want to get involved because I don't want that, or I do want that. I want to back it up. Like even Brian was going, yeah, hell yeah. Well, Brian, make sure that you still connect with your representative, because you better tell them you love that idea.
Yes.
It's not time to let off the gas when you see something that you like.
Correct. Good point, Steve.
Because that happens all too often. And then at the last minute, something flips, or they add a stupid ass bill to it that contradicts it and makes the whole damn thing void.
Yep.
So with that said, guys, Sean and I will be back next week. I'm here on Monday. Sean's on Tuesday, and we're back on Thursday night. You guys can catch us at 8 p.m. Eastern as of now on all 3 of those nights. And watch for, I got 13 dropping, and Sean might have some things going. And have a great week. Be good to each other. Stay safe. Be smart. Work apps that make money. Don't get out there and don't play active time. Play real time. Let's play real world in real time. No more active time. Active time's bullshit. And it's just a trick to screw up your shit. But look out for what other apps you could be doing too. A lot of people who do food delivery are not loving it right now. Look around. Man. Comment in here. Comment on Sean's video. Comment
Yeah.
email us. I always, all my information is able to connect with me. So, and Sean
You know,
too.
and I don't want to drag this on, Steve, but you brought up a really good point because everybody talks about the slowdown during the summer. I'm not having a slowdown. And I know you're not having a slowdown, and I'm not here to brag about it or talk about numbers, but guys, dig into other apps, get unconventional in your thought process on it. So with that, we'll let
With
you
that
wrap
though,
up.
also, like, and I know you do this too. I mean, part of that
Yeah.
isn't just, it's not just as easy as, oh, pivot and I'm making more in the summer. No, it might mean
Right.
instead of getting up at 10, you might have to get up at 4 a.m.
Yep.
You might have to readjust to something that's going to be like, whoa, dude, that's a lot of money, but I got to get up that early, or I got to stay out and
Right.
work late. Yes, you're going to have to adapt to which apps pay the best when and in your city, and then
Right.
work. I don't know, at least for me, work the apps that pay you the best, because I'm not in this for the fun of gig work. I'm doing this for money.
Nope. Exactly. All right.
And I vote with my wallet, and we'll just leave it at that.
Absolutely.
So you guys have a great week, and we'll see you back here next week. Peace.
Good night, y'all.